Good morning, everybody. How you all doing? This is Chris with Getaway Game Sports. And before I get into my little podcast today, which I'm definitely going to make something short, way too long, but I want to hear from my sponsor, and that's Para Travelers. Let me get you anywhere you want to go around the world, folks. All right, so I got that done. And I kind of want to bring up something, and here's why. Last night at work, I got into a debate. Not a big one, not a heated one. At least the drunk guy thought it was heated, right? And it was in regards to the Brewers and Dodgers NLCS. Dodgers had just taken a 3-1 series. And this guy's throwing a tantrum. Now, as you all know, I am a diehard Giants fan, and my hatred for the Dodgers is ridiculous, okay? But I do have a little respect for him, okay? Now, I'm going to get into it in just a second. This guy said that this team should not be here, should not be doing this, should not be shutting down the Brewers. I think he had to be a Brewers fan. I don't know, because he was all over the place. But I said, and I asked him why. And he couldn't give me an answer. He couldn't give me an answer. So I gave him an answer. And he didn't like it. So here was part of my answer, and then I'm going to elaborate on it a little bit, okay? Do we all understand this? Beautiful, phenomenal. Okay. So the Dodgers to me are the most hated team ever, even more than the Seahawks, the Lakers. God, who else? You know, those are up there. The Rams. God, can't stand them. So, but here's why. I think you have to respect the Dodgers. God, I can't believe I'm saying those words, but it's true. So I'm going to kind of go back in time a little bit. I think it's 2000, we'll say 9, 10, somewhere right around there. It was right before the Giants won their first World Series. And I can't remember if it was during the season or right when they did. So, okay, so just bear with me with that, okay, everybody? So I'm sitting there and I wanted to be a scout. Okay, I wanted to be either a coach or a scout in the MLB. I thought I could do it. I thought I could give something. I thought I could rock this, okay? So in my brilliant mind and genius thought, what do? I have no freaking idea. Okay, so what I did was I wrote a letter out to every single MLB coach. Okay, not knowing what I was going to get back in return. Okay, do we all understand this? I heard from one MLB coach, and it's a gentleman that I completely and totally respect and have for years. Which, to be honest, with their times, their schedule, with everything that they got going on in the world, I was in shock to get a call from him. And so I talked to him, and this gentleman was Bruce Bochy. Okay, mad respect. He said that I need to go to the baseball winter meetings, talk to people, meet them, get to know them, get to learn organizations, so on and so forth. Okay, do we all get this? So I go to my first baseball winter meetings. It's in December, obviously, first week, second week of December. And it's in Dallas, Texas. And I literally have no idea what I'm doing, why I'm doing, so on and so forth. But all I know is this, is I got to figure out a way to talk to some of the folks, some of the scouts, area scouts, regional scouts, so on and so forth. And so one thing that I'm semi good at is talking BS and doing all this. And I went and I talked with who was the first gentleman that I talked with. Um, wow, I'm so sorry. I just completely lost his name. I had to stop for a minute and that part's being cut out. But he was with the Dodgers organization and he had a Dodgers emblem on his Cole sweater. And I said, yeah, hey, how are you doing? I'm Chris, so on and so forth, right? And he goes, what can I help you with? And I kind of was thrown off because I wasn't expecting that. And I told him, I go, I would love to, in a perfect world, be a coach because at that time I was focused on coaching, being a coach. And he looked me square in the eye and he goes, being a coach, you got to be an MLB player or be know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. And I'm like, okay, cool, I get that. And he looks at me and goes, well, if you're a coach, why don't you be a scout? And I'm all, what? He goes, be a bird dog. Or let me rephrase that. He didn't say bird dog. I said bird dog. And I go, you mean a bird dog? He goes, yeah, that's an old term. It's not used anymore. He goes, would be more of an associate scout. And I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. All right. And don't get me wrong, that side of things at that point in time was not a thought in my head, so it became one. And so he goes, okay, I usually don't do this, but I'm going to do it. He's like, where are you located? And I go, well, I am up in the Sacramento area. And he goes, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to give you my card, give you his number. It was a scout. He was with the Dodgers at one point and then went to the Cubs and was an area scout for the Cubs. I'm not going to say his name because the guy never got back to me, which I get. He's busy. He's doing stuff. I totally get it and I understand now. Okay. So the next person I meet is another Dodgers scout. He's more of a regional scout, if I'm not mistaken. And he goes, who's in your area, what you need to do? And he gave me a full rundown on what to do. And I'm like, okay, he was one on the East Coast. So that he could help me, but he couldn't. And so I'm sitting here and I'm going, how is it that I run into two scouts and two of them are Dodgers? Kind of ironic. And I mean, this is like the first 30 minutes that I'm there. So I'm nervous. I don't know what to do. And I'm getting ready because I signed up for a class, which was actually pretty phenomenal. I'm a guy by the name of Daryl Henderson. If you don't know who Daryl Henderson is, he's at that time he ran the learning for the MILB, if I'm not mistaken. That's minor league baseball. Um, and actually, really great gentleman. Got to talk to him a little bit at this event because they have a huge hiring and it's a full on event. It's not just the winter meetings, don't get me wrong. Even though a lot happens in the rooms in the winter meetings, a lot of deals are made, a lot of everything's done. But it's a huge hiring event for minor league baseball teams and organizations. Okay. And it's literally a class on how to get hired in minor league baseball. And don't get me wrong, these guys have booths. They're trying to get you to be part of them, so on and so forth, which is unbelievable. So if you're young and you want to get out of your area and go work for a minor league baseball team, I highly recommend going to this event. Okay. So anyway, sorry, like I said, I was going to make a short story way too long, all that kind of good stuff. So I kind of strike out. Okay. I kind of strike out and I talked to quite a few people, met some great people. You know, Matt Vescursion, who's on the MLB network, great guy, had cocktails with him one, two, three, I don't know, I don't remember. Got to meet Kevin Millar, phenomenal guy. Actually, probably those two guys were probably the two most well-rounded, down-to-earth guys that you could meet. Absolutely phenomenal gentlemen. Okay? Chris Rose wasn't a fan of, but he was funny as hell. I will say that. Busted my balls a little bit, which I deserved. I'm not going to disagree. I thought it was great. But that was also the year that the guy was walking, not paying any attention on his phone, and fell into the sorry, still laughing about it. Fell into the fountain or the pool at the hotel. Okay. So, anyway, so I strike out basically, let's be honest, but I make a lot of good contacts. All right. So I'm still putting feelers out, doing all this, doing a lot of legwork, so on and so forth. The next year, I go to Nashville. Okay. And here's where my story kind of gets a little more succinct. I run into Bochy. Finally, I get an opportunity to thank him and meet him and want to buy him a beer, so on and so forth, just because that's me and that's the way that I am and that's what you do. Great guy. We talked for a couple of minutes and he is hysterical. In my opinion, he's hysterical. One of the best coaches ever. Does a hell of a job of melding men, athletes together of all sizes. Let's just be honest there, okay? And again, there's something that I do want to say to Bruce Bochy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that opportunity and helping me out and going from there. I don't think I say it enough, but I really do appreciate you, sir. Okay. So as I'm going through my day, I didn't do the job fair and all that kind of good stuff. But I did do a couple other things. And I did meet a gentleman who was with the Washington Nationals at the time. And in my opinion, I had heard of him, but I didn't know exactly who he was. I had seen him on the MLB network as well. And I thought personally that he was probably had to be one of the most brilliant people that I had met to that point, or at that, by that point. You know what I'm saying. Still is today, let's be honest. Okay. So word had just come out that Dodgers ownership was going to sell to the Guggenheims, the Magic Johnson Group, and a gentleman by the name of Stan Kasten. Now, as a Giants fan, knowing who this gentleman was and knowing how he turned around the Nationals organization slash Expos organization, I was nervous as a Giants fan, diehard Giants fan. Don't get me wrong. But the Giants were on a great run, so on and so forth. They hadn't won all three yet, but they were. So I was like, no big deal. Now, me wasn't thinking in the future, if you know what I'm saying. I was thinking right now, which you never do, by the way. At least in my opinion, you never do that, okay? Now, if you don't know Stan Kasten, you really, really, really need to. Because this gentleman sat there and talked with me. We're just standing in a hotel lobby in Nashville. It was the Opryland. And it felt like 5 minutes, but it had to have been at least 20 minutes. I mean, mad respect for this gentleman. And yes, I am a diehard Giants fan, as you guys can see. So you have to have mad respect for a gentleman who takes over, purchases the team, and is now the president of the team that you can't stand. Okay? So let me give you a few accolades here of Mr. Kasten, all right? Mr. Kasten was born in New Jersey back in 1952 in a little town called Lakewood Township. He graduated from NYU in 1973, got his law degree from Columbia University in 1976, okay? He practiced law briefly before entering the sports industry. His break came from a gentleman by the name of Ted Turner, who at the time was the founder of Turner Broadcasting and was the owner of numerous Atlanta franchises, okay, such as the Hawks, and he was also owner of the Braves, which is his big one that everybody knows. In 1979, at age 27, folks, Stan Kasten was the youngest GM in the NBA, and at that time ever. Okay, he was a GM for the Atlanta Hawks, and then he became in 1986 the president of the Atlanta Hawks. So this guy knows what he's doing. Okay. Simultaneously, in 1986, he was also president of the Atlanta Braves, which I don't know about you guys, but that's ridiculously crazy. Let's just be honest there. Um, he changed the Braves organization, changed the Hawks organization from losers to winners. Let's just say that, okay? Does everybody understand that? Um, he was part of the dynasty of the Braves where they won 14 consecutive division titles from 1991 to 2005. He got, what was it, 5 National League pennants and won a World Series championship. He was also in 1999 became the president of the Atlanta Thrashers. Okay, it was the city's NHL expansion team at the time. And he was there for 1999. One of the big things is he became the first executive in professional sports history to serve as president of 3 different teams simultaneously. You think you got a lot on your plate? Well, this gentleman absolutely had a lot on his plate. Unbelievable. Okay? Then, in 2012, okay, he, with the group, as we all know, as I just said, the Guggenheim Baseball Management Group Consortium, which included Magic Johnson, bought the Los Angeles Dodgers. Yeah. Was that heartbreaking for me? Absolutely. But I did congratulate him when I did meet him. Don't get me wrong. Okay? He saw day-to-day operations and was the president of the Dodgers. What's ironic is the first year after he bought the team, and I say he because it was him, because he's the guy that's done this job. In 2013 was their first year of being in the playoffs in God knows how many years, okay? And they have been there every year since. Now, don't get me wrong, they've won 2 World Series, one of them an asterisk World Series in 2020. They did win last year in 2024. Okay? Now, if you sit here and look at this, what has this gentleman done? All he's done is develop organizations from the ground up and made them better. All the way back to Dominique Wilkins, before Dominique Wilkins, with the Hawks. Then with the Braves, building them up, making them a phenomenal organization back in the 90s and early 2000s. Don't get me wrong, they've done a good job since, but, you know. And then he goes to the team that I can't stand the most, made some hard decisions, brought on Dave Roberts, who to me is not that good of a coach. He just happened to have pieces that he could put together. He learned from Bochy. Let's just put it out there and be honest there. He definitely learned from Bochy. Okay. And you look at the Dodgers organization, and I hate to say it, but they may be the best organization in baseball. I'm going to say right now. Giants were first for a long time, don't get me wrong. But right now, Stan Kasten has done a hell of a job transforming the Dodgers into winners and making that the true culture for the Dodgers. Do you guys see what I'm saying here? Now, understand this. When I say the culture, I mean the culture. I mean from scouting to rookie to low A to high A to developmental to A, double A, triple A, and in the pros. Their farm system is the best farm system in the major leagues. No ifs, ands, or buts. Um, they have more players that, after they come to the major leagues, still can move on and move out. Okay? A stat that I hate saying, and it drives me nuts. Since 2010, the San Francisco Giants have not had a position player sign a secondary contract with another team or a third contract with another team. So, what does that tell you? Things are changing in San Francisco, and I think Buster Posey is on the right track. I'm hoping that he takes a page out of Stan Kasten's book. Let's be honest here, okay? There's one man that you have to, have to truly respect in that Dodgers organization, and that's Stan Kasten. I have mad respect for you as a Giants fan, diehard Giants fan, but most of all, as a leader and as a man that knows how to build things from the bottom up. And I'll tell you what, I hate to say it, but I think the Dodgers are here to stay for a long time. Folks, I really do. And if you look at this year's team, don't get me wrong, they got Shohei. They were the only team in baseball that was going to get Shohei Ohtani. Let's just say that, throw that out there. They were the only team because Shohei wasn't going to leave LA and he wasn't going to go back to Anaheim. And he sure as heck wasn't going to go to San Diego. Okay? But Mookie Betts as well. And if you really look at it, they got Blake Snell. Now, don't get me wrong. Blake Snell's a good pitcher. Kind of annoys me at times, but is a good pitcher. Who else do you guys know who's on that pitching staff? Who else do you guys know who is on that team other than Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman? Okay, Freddie Freeman's probably going to be another MVP. Let's just be honest there. Now, the Dodgers, yeah, I know those three athletes weren't part of their farm system, but Kiki Hernandez was, Edmund was, Pages, whatever his name was, Edmund was, Will Smith was. I know Teoscar Hernandez was not. Okay, do you all see a pattern here? Not only do they go out and get free agents, they farm them, they build them, they make them better. So with that being said, Stan Kasten, you definitely get the Getaway Game Award. I gotta tell you, much as I hate to say it, mad respect for you, Stan Kasten. Mad respect for you and what you've done with that organization, because the Dodgers were on a huge downward spiral at that point and at that time and at that juncture. Folks, I think that's probably my time. I want to say thank you to everybody out there for listening. Hey, don't be afraid to what? You know, share, comment, like, and see that right there? See that right there? Right? Yeah, subscribe. All right, everybody? Thank you. Again, thank you to Paratravelers. That's www.paratravelers.net. And don't forget, take care of the fellas, the crew. The crew keeps on getting bigger and bigger, and oh my God, we're having a blast. Also, check out Married to Sports podcast as well. And don't forget the GM Game Show on the YouTube. All right, everybody? That would be on the Powerlifting News channel. We're having some fun. We're doing some things. Can you believe that I'm on 3 podcasts now? I sure as heck can't believe it. But having a great time with these gentlemen coming together. Definitely check them out. Follow them. Share, like, all that kind of good stuff. Comment on some of their fun stuff. They have some great content. And I know, I teamed up with a couple of Cowboys fans. Gross, right? Anyway, one last thing that I do want to say before I go is this. If you do what you always do, you will always do what you've done. Make yourself better today and every day, folks. Ciao.